Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a Blaze casting presentation bringing you guys a game between Nerf Us and Cheesepuff. Yep. So Nerf Us and Cheesepuff, two teams in the DotaBro.com league trying to vie for the top positions. There are 4 days left in this season of the DotaBro League, but it will keep on going after the fact. Just for this one specifically, at the end of the season, there will be a tournament for the top 16 teams to go and duke it out for some prize money. Top 8 will get at least $50, so that's pretty cool. But both these teams are pretty high up there. I mean, they've won some games more often than losing anyway, so they are hopefully some pretty good skilled players, and we'll have some awesome games coming out of them. But alright, just making sure everything is all set there. Okie dokie. Alrighty then, so going on into the bans, we do have Bounty Hunter, Undying, and Batrider taken off, so pretty much the last question is if they want to ban out some AoE initiators or some gankers. So they're going to ban out the Magnus and kind of go from there. Pretty much what that allows them to pick up is pretty much any kind of hero that prefers to group up. If you want a lot of melee heroes, then you can still pick that up, go for a triple melee, maybe a strength solo mid, and that'll work out pretty well, except for the fact that Darkseer is still on the board. You ban out the Magnus, yeah, the reverse polarity is gone, but they still have to worry about the vacuum. So that's going to be a little bit more of an issue, but they immediately pick up the Nyx Assassin. I'm seeing this pick up more and more as far as a top tier, like first or second pick hero, and honestly I love it. I think it's really, really effective, not only versatile in the sense that it could go solo mid and just go for a domination strat where it gets a level advantage and does huge amounts of damage with Vendetta and possibly like a Dagon or one or something like that, but now he's seen even more in a supportive role where he's going to be on the back line of things, dropping out some good impales, setting up some good ganks, maybe draining out some mana if he has Keeper of the Light along with him, but the bigger deal there is that he's going to also be able to counteract a lot of initiation with that Spike Carapace. Max that up to rank 4, you have a really long duration stun and a good amount of damage reflect with the Spike Carapace as a mechanic, especially against AoE initiation. So that will be how we go. Close that out. But going on from there, and thank you guys for tuning in so much. It's really awesome to have you guys picking up on some Dota 2, DotaBro.com type stuff. It's still like a non-sponsored league as far as I know, so with that in mind, it's really great that you provide some viewership, provide some support, get the name out there so that they can do more tournaments and cool stuff like that, because right now it's open to everybody. It's an international league, and it's providing everybody the opportunity to make a team and try it out and kind of branch in. I think right now Dota 2 kind of lacks that transition from high-level amateur to pro. That there's a big gap there that I think this kind of fills very, very nicely. So I think that's pretty cool. But awesome system there. And kind of going on into it, we have a couple of good teams. Lone Druid and Jakiro starting off as far as picks go. The Lone Druid is a little bit odd based on the fact that Darkseer likes the solo lane as well, but I think it'll work out pretty effectively, especially against a Luna. Luna is a very mobile hero. She has a good base movement speed. She likes to pick up things like Yasha and sometimes phase boots and that kind of thing. But if you can catch her out, she does have a low attack range, so you get an Entangle proc on her. If she doesn't have Manta to break out of it, or BKB for that matter, then you will be able to lock her down and really screw her over. Also, along those lines, Darkseer is just a great hero in general, but up against Luna, you do get a bunch of passive benefits just right off the bat, and Lone Druid in the Druid form will be able to benefit from the Moonlight, but otherwise not going to be a big deal. He's probably going to stick in true form most of the time, as he likes to be durable, generally speaking. But Jakiro's a good, solid pickup. Not necessarily the best option against Nyx Assassin, but the Ice Path is still a really good long-range initiation stun that helps out to fortify their safe lane or their carry lane. So, I mean, they could go for an aggressive tri line if they go for the right line up here, but it really depends. I haven't really seen either of these two teams play, so hopefully that will be something that is more interesting. But yeah, so Jakiro, it will kind of play a supportive role in the tri-lane, and they'll be going for a hard carry alongside Lone Druid. Lone Druid can go for the off-lane, Darkseer for the mid, or vice versa. You can flip-flop those, no problem, depending on who you want to get more reliable experience in gold. I could even fathom possibly setting the bear with Darkseer to make it like the easiest lane possible by having the bear pull, but not that big a deal one way or another. Anyways, with the Shadow Demon Nyx Assassin, it pretty much gives them the easiest potential in the world to get a lot of damage in. Like, they pretty much get the disruption off, the impale goes on through, and during that impale they can pretty much do whatever damage they want. It's similar to a Leshrac in that mindset, Leshrac Shadow Demon being one of the more powerful kill lanes in a dual circumstance, but adding in the Luna adds in that much more potential, not to mention Shadow Demon, of course, benefiting from the aura of the Luna, which is the Lunar Blessing there. So that's going to be awesome. But now the last pick for Nerf Us, I kind of glazed over the bands quite a bit, but we have Queen of Pain, Templar Assassin, Night Stalker, we have Rubik, the Disruptor, and the Tinker. All of those pretty solid bands. I mean, most of them are solo mid-oriented heroes. Not a single really good mid has been picked up, except for maybe like a Darkseer or Lone Druid, which again I think will be laned in the mid just based on how they want to go from here. Unless they want to play Lone Druid in a situation where he's tri-laned, I don't think it's going to be his best option. So most likely we're going to see a hard carry and a support pickup, one that scales a little bit better than Lone Druid. Don't get me wrong, Lone Druid can get 12 items as far as inventory goes, so if you're talking about scaling in that regard, he's very effective, but realistically you're more going to be looking at somebody who can take the same amount of gold and use it more effectively rather than just get tons and tons of gold. Anyways, Nigma does get picked up by Nerf Us here, Immortal.Faith drafting that up there, and adds a lot to the lineup. I mean, Darkseer plus Enigma, kind of surprised it didn't even get banned out because it is very effective. Vacuum them in, put up the black hole, it's going to be a really big deal. The one thing that is kind of a wrench in the works in my mind is that not only Luna has a really long distance disable, I think it's about 1,000 range on that Lucent Beam, but also Nyx Assassin. If he pops Spike Carapace right when the vacuum occurs, you can actually just stun out the Enigma the second the black hole ticks on damage, and that obviously interrupts it right there. And even if you get a 5-man black hole, if you don't have your BKB up, it's going to be able to lock it down, so that's essential. Okay. So anyways, as far as the Radiant lineup here, now that Nerf Us has picked up the Enigma, he's going to be going mostly in the jungle, and with that Jakiro is going to be supporting a aggressive carry on the top lane, presumably. So that's going to be Jakiro, maybe Chaos Knight, or, I mean, Lifestealer is possible, but I don't see it as being as viable in this circumstance here. But we'll see. Probably something with some AoE, though. I would definitely like to see some AoE damage coming on out. I don't think Shadow Fiend is really the best option, but, you know, something. Darkseer Enigma Shadow Fiend is a great potent combo, but I don't know if it's going to be enough for the pickoffs right here. But the Clink's pickup does come on out for Team Cheesepuff, and that's going to be pretty cool. That gives them a lot more mobility and flexibility. The fact of the matter is they have a Nyx Assassin. His Vendetta allows them to roam, especially when you get it to rank 2 or above. You get a lot of movement speed bonus out of the Vendetta, along with that Clink's and the Skeleton Walk, pretty much the same idea. And so once you get like an Orchid out on Clink's, we just saw in an ICC Cup game, or IC Cup game, Jackal picked up Clinks and just murdered with him because he got pretty much free farm up against a Beastmaster, didn't have any trouble at all last hitting down, and once he got that Orchid, he was just dominating all over the battlefield. There was no place that was safe, and he did some cool jukes to keep him alive underneath Sentry Wards. So all in all, he played extremely well, and Clinks is a hero that you can do those cool things with his vast mobility, his potential to burst really, really hard, especially if you get a good ultimate off the Death Pact. Then you can get a lot of bonus damage and apply very, very effectively there. So that'll be pretty cool. But yeah, so Clinks adds a lot to their lineup as far as mobility, gank ability. I mean, Nyx Assassin already kind of had that, but he's not going to get much solo experience. This is where Clinks comes in. He's going to kind of play the same role, but more effectively in the sense that he will have a level advantage because he generally is played in a solo circumstance. So we'll have Shadow Demon, Nyx Assassin, and Luna. All three of those will be trialing together. Clinks can either go for a solo offlane or solo mid, and then that leaves them open for the last pickup to fill either of those two lane roles there. But now we're just looking for the carry on Nerf Us, trying to get the lineup, and it's going to be the Lifestealer. I thought that was a pretty good idea, but I wasn't sure if it had the AoE that it needed. Of course, Lifestealer is a very single target oriented hero. He has the Infest, which does a little bit of a burst of AoE magic damage, but generally speaking, he's not considered an AoE hero, so he's going to need like a Mjolnir to try to stay on top of things as far as cleaving people down. Otherwise, he's just going to go into it and deliver a World of Hurt during long duration disables, and that's fine too. But one of the best things about it, in my mind, is that Nyx Assassin, if he has that Carapace up, Lifestealer is one of the few heroes that can still stay on him despite that. So that'll work out pretty well. But it's still, they're going to be up a Clinks and an Outworld Destroyer. What in the world? That is giving me a headache just thinking of the possibilities. I don't even know where to go with that. So, what we're looking at there is pretty much I have no idea. Outworld Destroyer, picked up by N1 exclamation box, will be laning mid, I guess. Yeah, they'll leave Clinks in the off lane and Obsidian Destroyer in the mid lane, and that's all well and good. The reason why it perplexes me is because of the item dependency of all their heroes. They already pretty much had a really good mid game with Luna and Clinks, and they can transition out of that into the late game very effectively as well. But adding the Obsidian Destroyer and his item reliance, as well as his reliance on support in the mid, will make things very, very difficult for them and very uncomfortable indeed. So Darkseer is going to be going on the off lane. I'm curious if he'll start off with the surge and do the little trick where you can double surge creep into the enemy tower. But one way or another, the bear is just going to be picking up some nice items, possibly Orb of Venom or something like that, at 275 gold. But for the time being, just a quick pause coming out, and that'll give me an opportunity to introduce the teams. So we do have on Team Cheesepuff, we do have Luna, played by Meta. We have Nyx Assassin, played by Moo. And we have Dob, played by the Shadow Demon. All three of those will be going towards the top lane. No sentry wards on either of the supports, but it's still not going to be that big a deal. They don't really have to worry about aggressive lane warding and stuff like that nearly as much in that position there. In the meantime, Outworld Destroyer by N1 Box is going to help them come up top and secure the wards. But other than that, he's just going to transition towards the mid, presumably, leaving Clinks on the safe lane. But you might be able to flip-flop that. Say Outworld Destroyer could go on the safe lane, 1v1 up against the Darkseer, and leave Clinks for the mid. But either way, they're pretty much going to fill the same role of range, I wouldn't say ganker carry, but they can do quite a bit of burst, and they can scale pretty well. So that'll be very unique. Alright, so yeah, I definitely think Radiant's lineup is more interesting. The potential for late game is staggering with Outworld Destroyer, but if Nerf hits their stride in the mid game and gets a couple good black holes off, I mean, it's not too hard with a solid vacuum. You just have to watch out for that Nyx Assassin. Then I honestly don't think there's too many issues, but of course there is a lot of potential for aggression on the Enigma if you get some good wards up. In fact, in my mind, I would prefer Dob to not just ward, like, you usually ward a position where you can see runes and stuff like that, but if you just ward like an aggressive position like right over here, you could actually just pick off the Enigma over and over and over. Anytime, he'd pretty much have to be afraid every time you go into the Fog of War, because suddenly there's a Nyx Assassin and a Shadow Demon. All you have is Eidolons to work with, and it's not going to be very fun. So Immortal Faith, starting things off, already has Eidolons on the field, waiting to do the easy camp, and he's going to farm up his Soul Ring relatively quickly to look for either a Mechanism or a Blink Dagger to help with his team's AoE initiation potential. But one way or another, it's going to be interesting. The Luna should have pretty good control over the lane. Shadow Demon has a lot of right-click damage right now. He not only has double damage, but Lunar Blessing, so you're actually seeing him do well over 110 damage, and that's pretty awesome. And yeah, along those lines, Outworld Destroyer is going to have a hard time against the bear, especially when he hits level 5. Lone Druid's bear will be rank 3, and that will provide the opportunity for entangling. So that'll be pretty awesome. I think I've said that 3 times, so sorry about that. But Clinks is farming up on the bottom lane here rather effectively. The Iron Shell, really all it can do is gradually CS, and frankly, if you can just deny appropriately, that won't even be an issue. But one way or another, they both will be getting some farm, but I think the Clinks will come out on top in that lane just because he's not going to get shut down by the Darkseer and his Ion Shells, which is something you have to worry about if you're like a Templar Assassin or something like that. In the meantime, Outworld Destroyer, stealing as much mana as possible from Lone Druid. That's kind of a fruitless endeavor, as even if you drop he's dropped his intellect by 1/3, but what's he going to prevent him from doing? Summoning a bear that's still 3/4 life, 2/3 life? It's not going to be that big a deal. So, in the end, not going to change too much one way or another. But Lexo is going to get some nice dedicated farm when he can underneath the tower. But the problem is that they're in a position right now where the Enigma really can't contribute to the lane. He needs to be about level 4 to get rank 2 Malefice. Well, he can do a level 3, but it's not going to be as promising of potential. And with that in mind, what the? Golden Greevel, cool. I haven't actually seen that in game, so that's interesting enough. But you get that from the Frost of Vis event, the Greeveling. If you get a rare spawn, you have a chance to get that. But anyways, going on through, yeah, not too much happening. I mean, the bear doesn't have a Stout Shield, which means that his durability is a little bit limited. Stout Shield, because he has 1800 health, that Stout Shield has a lot of potential chances of proc, which actually gives him a much higher effective health. And with that, you can do a lot less with the bear, but the Fire will still have enough mana to summon the bear at least once, and from there, there's not really too many concerns. Take out the bear, resummon it, and he can still keep aggression out of the lane, which is allowing him to win the lane right now. If you're looking at last hits, 12 and 8 versus 3 and 3. Obsidian Destroyer completely shut down right now, which is surprising because with these 2 stacks of his prison, he actually has a really nice amount of base damage, but he's focused so much on harassing the enemy. He's focused so much on stealing the intellect of Kafar and harassing the bear that he's not focusing on last hits, and that's in a bad position. Lifestealer could have actually been brought down there, or at least hurt quite a bit, but you know, the rank 1 rage will help out quite a bit. Standard 1-1-1 build in that circumstance. Now flanking up on again, just a couple of auto attack pokes. They're really not wanting to commit too much more to that, even though there's a no Enigma, and I kind of feel that's a mistake. Enigma over here in the eastern jungle, they have amazing wards from the Radiant, knowing when he's walking by any of these positions here, so they know Enigma's not around. They know they can go some aggression. Yeah, they will waste some mana, they won't get the kill, but they can put the fear in him where he won't want to really see us on the lane, and that's a really big deal. Nice CS from Lone Druid though, 1,000 gold in the bank, and that can be put towards any number of things. If he wants to go Battle Bear and end this before, you know, you have to worry about a Luna, Obsidian Destroyer, and Shadow Demon. Actually looking at a dive, this was kind of a big mistake in my mind. He does get this Carapace off, so Jakiro does take a little bit of his own medicine, but in the end nothing's really going to happen. The creep wave was available to tank up underneath the tower, and of course not auto-attacking means that the tower's not going to aggro on you anytime soon. So despite the stun, despite the open wounds, didn't really have to worry about that too much. So Dob going to fall back for the time being. Enigma really wants to get a rank 2. He has rank 2 Malefist, 2 instances of stun, and Meta in a terrible position, but a nice disruption gives him an opportunity to put out some big damage. With Meta taking too much, it can be First Blood, going to Lifestealer on Luna, and that's really, really big. She has her Tranquil Boots, but just lost a decent amount of gold, and Lifestealer gained a ton. He has, right now, 4 CS, but now he just shot up in GPM really, really hard. He would have had like 120, now he has 213, so that's really nice for him, and really what he needed in that lane. Now he is out of mana, he can't rage, he can't open wounds, and they know it. They want to go aggressive on him. The Soul Catcher hits on Jakiro though, and of course they didn't pop off the Disruption, so that'll do it. Rank 1 Disruption is a lot longer cooldown than Rank 2 and subsequent ones, and with that it might not have been available. I didn't check, but overall it's just been very interesting. Phase Boots up on the Lone Druid, so he is going to go for a little bit more aggression. He's actually going to probably put that on the Bear, now that it has the Orb of Venom and the chance to entangle. Phase Boots pretty much seals Outworld Destroyer's fate right here. He can auto-attack the Bear down a decent amount. Does he have the summon available? 3 seconds, and he will summon the Bear once more. But once those Phase Boots coming out, and from the Courier onto the Spirit Bear, Outworld Destroyer is going to get harassed like crazy. I could actually expect a solo kill coming out of this Lone Druid, because if there's an Entangle proc, which I believe is based on pseudo-random generation now, which is just a randomness mechanic, but if that's the case, then he can easily bring down Outworld Destroyer, no problem at all. I mean, Prison, I guess he could use it on himself to negate some of that disable time, but it's still not the position you want to be in when he can just walk over on top of you during that long duration disable. So most likely, Outworld Destroyer will responsively try to... He has Phase Boots on himself. I think that's a mistake as well, but he could just be putting it on the Bear and using the Bear, if he can micro, has open micro skills, then he could just use it to harass. This Bear would have substantially more movement speed, and all you have to do is just pop Phase Boots every once in a while as you click around on the Bear. But not a big deal. One way or another, he's winning the lane, and can't complain about that too much. In the meantime, it looks like Shadow Demon is only sitting at level 3, so they're splitting the experience quite a bit, trying to get Luna farmed up, but right now she's at the exact same level. So right now, an Enigma is about to, you know, he's 5.5 in, he has just gotten a heck of a lot of items, and now he can gank on a lane that only has a bunch of level 3 heroes, and that's a position Enigma really wants to be in, and not what Meta wants to be. The fact is, he is on a offensive tri-lane, and they're not really getting kills. In fact, the only kill on the board is against them. So it kind of is a waste of resources. Meta could just have been free farming this entire time, but instead they're handing that to Clinks. And don't get me wrong, Clinks has that Oblivion. We saw how effective that could be last game under Jackal's control, but it's not the biggest deal in the world. Luna getting some farm, getting some mobility, some survivability, get the full Eclipse off, things like that are so essential, especially when there's just a lot of different things you can do. Manta Style, I think, is probably going to be the most important item that can be picked up because of the Entangle. But now they're looking to gank up. Like I was saying before, they could be looking to bring down Enigma. They get the... Oh, whoa! You use the Impale during the disruption. That was a complete waste, and they're actually going to get a kill on Dob. The Eidolons did expire, but one more auto attack should do it. The Bear, come on Bear, yeah! Enigma kills the Shadow Demon. Nyx kills the Enigma, but with Jakiro transitioning in, they spent a heck of a lot of time there. Did pop off Black Hole, but he got a couple kills for it in turn, so He could have just gotten picked off and actually died during the disable if it was a Disruption Soul Catcher into an Impale, but the fact that the Impale was completely whiffed is kind of a joke. I guess I have to check links and make sure that they're not inappropriate. It looks fine. Okay. I'm not much of a chat moderator type person just yet, but, you know, I'll get into the swing of things in that regard. I like some Dota, though, that's for sure. So as far as things shaping up in the mid lane, still kind of the same story to tell. 34 and 27 for Lone Druid. He has gotten 27 denies. For those of you that don't know, if you deny a creep against a range hero, they only get half experience, as opposed to 75% if they're a melee hero. So Outworld Destroyer is getting crushed in experience. Right now, Lone Druid is 8 and with 335 to spare. Outworld Destroyer is only 111 with, or sorry, level 7 with 111 to spare. So that's not good at all. And Spirit Bear still doesn't have the boots, but at least Kafar has quite a bit of mobility, and that might be what's helping him last hit quite a bit. That increase in 24 damage, obviously something that you have to keep in mind. But now with the open wounds going down, as well as the Ice Path and Dual Breath, meta should take a fall here. Does not have any movement speed bonus at all, because the Trinkle Boots have been brought down with enough auto attacks, and that will, you know, set up Lifestealer for a great amount of success. So right now Nerf is 4-1. They did cost them the Black Hole for a couple of those kills, but it will be back up in about 100 seconds. And meantime, sorry about that, completely missed on mid lane, but you know, to dual gank with the Outward Destroyer having his ultimate available, they will be able to bring down the Lone Druid, and the important thing is he still has his bear. Once he respawns, he'll be able to summon that up and keep his farm going, keep that aggression going. They just need to be a little bit more proactive about warding. Right now, Radiant have wards covering the top rune spawn and a little bit of Enigma's jungle. They have sentry wards to make sure they're not covering the bottom rune. Maybe they dewarded, I didn't check, but in the end, oh, they also have a lane ward here on Darkseer. So all these things help out Clinks, help out the solo mid, pick up the runes, help them do whatever they need to do. But the problem is that Dire don't have any. They just now put this ward up, and that'll help out quite a bit. But prior to that, actually, he's going to drop down to Iron Shell. Oh, 12 HP. Surge the creep. Wanted to bring him down, but 419 just barely skirting the edge of the trees and is effective enough to finish the job there. So, lucky for him to survive in that manner, but yeah, he's going to have his Orchid pretty soon. Now, actually, with the Death Pact healing up a decent amount to sustain him in the lane until that expires, which is a good, like, 30 seconds or something like that. Almost lost my train of thought, but picking it back up, one thing to mention is that the Dire wards, pretty much they don't have control over ganks, and when the Radiant want to gank up and put some aggression out on the mid lane, they don't even have to smoke. They don't even have to spend that 100 for a chance to get a kill. They just guaranteed walk up there and generally can get themselves in a good, easy, effective position. So, good stuff there, and with Mu approaching his Vendetta, that's going to be even greater of a threat, so you can just walk on down. It only lasts a few seconds, like 20 seconds at rank 1, but it'll help out, and it'll add a nice little bit of burst damage, physical damage, that will help out, especially since Kafar has yet to pick up any points in True Form. True Form adds in 4 armor, and you can use the Battle Cry to increase your armor even further. So it's a really important ability that Vendetta can pierce right on through if he doesn't have it available. So that's going to be a pretty big deal. Just wants a little bit more experience. I'm not sure why he's sitting back this far. He could just be near 1 creep death and get that level 6, and that's pretty important. Here are some nice wards, sentries, etc. They're controlling this very effectively, but this is some XP that you need to leech. So he's going to do that right here, pick up his level 6 and kind of go from there. Darkseer did pick up a kill on Clinks on the bottom, and wow, I just did not catch that either. Hard to be all over the map as far as eyes go, but I'll try to be a little bit better on that. I don't really expect 1v1 kills as much, even if he doesn't have boots. I mean, he's generally fast enough with Skeleton Walk. But there is a big exchange going on through. Immortal Faith pops off the Malefice onto Shadow Demon. The Eclipse goes on out, and despite the Eidolons burning down quite a bit, going to be able to bring down Son of Satan. Just one more Lucid Beam, one more Auto Attack will do the trick. Kozo from Tomorrowland is trying to go aggressive onto Mu. He has the Ion Shell. He can get Surge. No, 2 seconds left on Surge. He's just going to go Infest on the Bear. Pop on out. That's nice damage, but the Carapace will stun up the Lone Druid for a short time period. Now the Ion Shell actually stunned out Darkseer, but it's enough to bring down the Nyx Assassin. That's the important thing. It takes really quickly, so not much damage is reflected, and from there the rest of the Ion Shell, since it is on the the Nyx instead of the Darkseer, is actually able to pursue and finish the job. So nice action there. Good cleanup in general. It's definitely kills they needed on the board. Sitting at 3-0-1 for the Lifestealer is really nice right in this stage of the game. So in the end, it's going to be 7-4 in favor of Nerf, and if you check out the golden experience graph, you can definitely see how that kind of panned out. last hit advantage for a lone druid, and the kills on the board definitely give that gold advantage, and even more so the experience, sitting at moving towards 2,500 now. And now they're going to be looking for a tier 1 tower on bottom. It is rank 4 Eidolons, so those are really good for pushing. Not that great for team fights compared to Malphite rank 4, but Moo comes in. He popped Vendetta before the TP, so that he wasn't not seen at all. They might even think it was cancelled, but that would be a mistake as they're coming in from behind. Clinks, huge burst of damage coming out, and Enigma is dead before he can even see it coming. That's the power of double invisibility on your team, is if they don't have the detection, if they don't have the clairvoyance to say, hey, they're probably going to beat the crap out of me right now, then you're going to get dropped down really, really quickly. So and I mean, I might be referencing old mechanics. I mean, I've played this game since like 2005, but as far as the conversation in the chat, yeah, the last I checked, I mean, you can double check it for me, but there was a point in time where if you deny a creep against a ranged hero, they will only get half experience. If you deny against a melee, they will still get 3/4 experience. But that might be different things. I played a lot of different games. I played Heroes of New Earth just a year and a couple months ago. I played a lot of that, and that was true in that game. But Dota 1, I played 2005 to 2008. And with that, obviously, a lot of things have changed. So if that's not true, definitely call me out on it. I don't want to be giving out misinformation, especially if I can prevent myself in doing so. But there were, at least in some games, there was the case. Actually, Nyx almost accidentally Vendetta range creep there because of the disruption coming out. But he is in Lone Druid form. The 11 troop form, our armor will be enough to keep him alive for the time being. And with a nice entangled, he actually might get some retaliation. A couple tower attacks go on through, so, and one box dropping down pretty quick. Yeah, you can probably just check out Dota 2 wiki or something as far as that deny mechanic, or playdota.com mechanics, experience, that kind of thing. You'll definitely find it there. But in the meantime, Enigma pushing up quite a bit up on top lane there and putting out a lot of damage, a lot of pressure. And here comes Lifestealer trying to put out some aggression on Luna himself. He does not have enough mana for Rage, so that could be in a really bad spot. Luna, nice Eclipse, but she kind of runs away. She still has a good 300 HP to work with, and I think she should have been a little bit more aggressive, but it doesn't matter. Lifestealer drops down as well as the Jakiro, and it just shows how Nerf got a little bit overconfident. They assumed that the Enigma would be able to get that black hole off, and the Lifestealer thought he had mana to rage on out, but neither of those things were true at the time. They got enough disables on the Enigma, they got the mana burn on the Nyx, and with that, they were able to take down 3 heroes for Nerf for absolutely nothing, and it just seems like we're a little bit overzealous about bringing down this tower. Didn't have enough map awareness and got dropped down. Illusion Rune popping off on the Lone Druid, just helping him out to farm just a little bit. In the meantime, Clink's happy as can be with that Orchid. Hey, one more auto attack, boom, 100 gold bounty. Summon Spirit Bear should be put on cooldown in a moment's time. There we go. But yeah, not too much happening on Clink's department, which I guess is good for Nerf for the time being, but it's going to start changing very, very rapidly as he starts becoming mobile on the enemy jungle. Meantime, Jaheer just trying to be at the right place at the right time, has that rank 3 Ice Path, wants to use it to counteract a gank, and Kafar being on low enough life that Cheesepuffs thinks they can go aggressive, that could be a really big deal. I love this Sentry Ward. Could be a little bit further out, maybe in this position here, but he didn't want to reveal that he was just like walking into the river for no reason. But anyways, with that, it does show if there's an Invis hero. Nyx Assassin, a Clink's coming up in an aggressive position, and they can actually pick them off because of it. Backing them in towards the tower, get an Ice Path, get some stuns, maybe even an Entangle. Whatever you need to do, pick them off, bring them down, and that could be very, very promising. In the meantime, Lifestealer free farming up top, 3, 1, and 2, and I think this game is going to go more towards the late game. And as far as do I cast most matches for DotaBro, I actually haven't casted too much of DotaBro until today. Like, I did a handful of matches which I didn't even upload to start things off, just kind of a practice run about a week and a half ago. But from this point on, today and beyond, I'm going to be casting a lot of their matches. I think I'm on their main page as far as broadcasters go, and I've casted like 5, 6 games today, and I'm going to be casting tomorrow and the next day too. So obviously this league is wrapping up for this season specifically, so that's why I want to cover, like, you know, the tension rises as the points are in the balance. That's one thing when I played World of Warcraft Arena, was like at the very last 3 days of arena brackets going up and down as far as your point values. That was always people vying for the top slot and that kind of thing. So I think that's a really cool aspect that you don't really get if you're just looking at scores in general. So the last few days of the league are the funnest, but I'm going to be casting the league in general whenever I get the chance. So thank you guys for tuning in, and hopefully if you guys enjoy DotaBro as a league. If you enjoy me as a caster, you can tune in for future events, including the DotaBro tournament. So, I really want to read that thing about experience now, but I'll check it out after the cast concludes, as I'm sure people who don't read chat have no idea what I'm talking about. Anywho, some aggression going on out. Lifestealer in a very aggressive position right here, but he has that armlet, needs to turn it on to actually get some more auto attack damage coming on out, but you know, it can work. The biggest deal there was Cheesepuffs thought that they could bring down more than just the Enigma in that position there. They've got the pick off here, and then they went in towards the tower, and they were looking for more. They wanted a lone druid really, really badly, but in general, not too much happened. So that is going to work out pretty well for the Lifestealer. Again, he's sitting at 3-1 and 3. He's pretty much the best KDA on the board. I mean, yeah, you don't have a death of Outworld Destroyer, but you also have taken all the kills for yourself, so no assist gold. But he does have that 4-staff, which helps out so much versus Lifestealer. Nakes is one of those heroes that is very, very immobile. He's similar to like Juggernaut in that regard. You need some mobility items to stay on top of the opposition. I mean, open with some respect, but otherwise you're going to need to be able to close the gap somehow. A lot of people that pick up Basher just for the off chance that you can stay on top of them for more than 2 seconds. And that's great, but with this Outworld Destroyer now having the 4-staff, he can kite to no tomorrow, whether it's through Astral Imprisonment or just based on the fact that he can 4-staff away. So, going along with that, Immortal.Faith, farming up pretty well on the jungle, but very, very wise that he fell back at that exact time. They don't have any dire sentries down there, they only had one up here, and I don't think they could spot Clinkz running up to the creeps, but he just knew that he needed to get out of the jungle, and it actually did save his life there, as that damage amplification from the Orchid can do so much right here. And 419 popping on Skeleton Walk was revealed for a short time period, and now they know to be very, very cautious about where they move next. Dob taking a little bit of damage, not sure where, but not a big deal. In the meantime, Lifestealer continues to farm. Didn't go for a Midas, so he's going to have a relatively delayed experience and gold gain, but it's still going to help. And the dust pops off, they want him. I wasn't sure if they were really going to commit to that because he has so much mobility, but that is 90 gold down the drain. They just popped that off, and maybe we're trying to bait out a team fight, but it's just one that they could not take. Okay, some positioning. Speaking of positioning, Kafar finding out the Shadow Demon. He actually went for, doesn't have any boots on the bear yet, but he does have Rabid, which increases that movement speed by quite a bit. 10% right now, but it will increase to 20 later on. Now Moo in a pretty precarious position, but he does have his Vendetta, wants to pop it off. They're going to look to dust him out in just a moment. And why didn't I know that Enigma had dust? I just looked at him. He had the dust available, did not pop it off, and with that, Moo will just casually stroll on out. So perfectly fine there. Now looking for some Vendetta damage, but he does have to watch out for the enemy team because that's kind of relevant. But you know, with Spike Carapace, you can be a little bit fearless. Now Ghost Scepter will come on out. Really good item up against the Obsidian Destroyer, or Outworld Destroyer. Sorry. Now on the back end, Clinkz is going to pop off his Orchid, burn down the Enigma immediately, and so far Enigma's gotten off one black hole. He's died every single time right before the black hole can get off. Whether he's silenced, he's stunned, whatever, he gets picked off, and Enigma without a black hole is not a very beneficial hero. Now, Clinkz seeing the flying golden courier, he wants to bring down the Grieville, but will not manage to do so, and is just going to have to fall back. In the meantime, Radiant do have good wardage on the jungle, if wardage is a word anyways. They do have good control of the top rune, enemy jungle. All these farm routes are completely maintained. The only thing is these Ancients are still pretty well covered by the Dire. Nerf has control over that. If they put a ward up in this position here, they would be able to see what's going on, but right now Nerf is happy to get those creeps and try to look for that Radiance, as it's okay timing. Generally speaking, you see a lone druid, especially one that gets a 1v1 lane, to be picking up around 19 minutes, but all the same, he's going to be getting it in just a moment's time. 300 gold away, and it's only 21.5 in, so it will help. It will definitely allow them to split push a little bit more effectively. You can just bring the bear all the way down the lane and constantly just do Radiance damage, even if he can't auto attack, so that's pretty awesome. In the meantime, Outworld Destroyer is looking for a mechanism, great survivability item. I don't think that the Shadow Demon would get the farm to thrive and enough to be able to build that up in a reasonable amount of time. You're looking at the gold per minute, and he's only sitting at 150, getting a couple last hits right there with some nice Shadow Poison, which he's actually maxed out. In the meantime, talking about friggin' skill builds, there's a Darkseer picking off a Clinkz, because Clinkz thinks he is the man and can walk into the enemy jungle, but there's going to be sentries around sometimes, and they actually managed to pick him off there. Very effective. Malefice, really good for keeping people on a single position. Not sure if it was used, but one way or another. Now, but yeah, that Shadow Poison actually providing quite a bit of counter push, and a little bit more so with that mana burn will force Enigma into a pretty bad position because he always uses Soul Ring to pop off a really high mana cost spell, and because of that, if you can burn their health and their mana simultaneously, you can put them in a pretty bad spot. Now, that Lucent Beam won't set up a kill just based on the fact that Darkseer does have rank 2 Surge, but they do actually get the 2.5 second duration disruption coming on through. The Impale will hit on the Darkseer, but again, not going to matter. Dual Breath wasted, but the entire time, bottom has been pushed in. Lone Druid amazing at pushing towers. Lifestealer helping out quite a bit, and all the Radiant can do, Cheesepuffs just have to fall back and go back to land of farm. So, nice action there, and that definitely gave him his Radiance recipe. So that's going to be coming on the Courier, I presume, in no time at all. Yep. And from there, they're just going to be as aggressive as they need to be. Only rank 1 ultimate on Nyx Assassin, but as soon as he can get some aggressive play out, he will try to endeavor to do so. I mean, if he can get a rank 2 Vendetta, he can kind of roam around, but he has to be careful. He can't just make a Clinks play and jump in on a position that's completely warded. 419, it's now stalking on the Lifestealer, who's, you know, not in his own jungle, definitely has the opportunity, and now that the possibility of infesting is gone, they immediately just completely destroy him. Meta popped off his Eclipse. I don't feel that was necessary, as Orchid applies 30% damage amplification during its duration, or at the end of its duration, but nevertheless, I mean, getting the kill, you can't complain. So that's pretty awesome. So, Mechanism pretty much finished as soon as Outworld Destroyer wants it, but in the meantime, Ward's going out to Jakiro to hang on to their life for the map control, because really, they're getting pretty well dominated as far as map wards go. There are Radiant wards all over their jungle. They're probably very glad that the one up top did expire, but nevertheless they are very limited on their control. So Jakiro's going to get some wardage out on their own jungle, get some nice sentries up, and we're hoping to counteract a ward there, but in the end they'll just take what they can get some vision control, and actually find some locations where they're safe to go aggressively. And now push up on the top lane, Shadow Poison helping that out a little bit, and the tower being only at 158 is very, very close to last hit deny range, so we'll see who can bring that down in the near future. But in the meantime, Lone Druid just can farm up wherever he needs to. He has enough mobility that even if there's a multi-man gank, it's not going to be the big difference. But now, Immortal Faith and Dob just passing by each other and saying, what's going on? Oh, nice attempt to vacuum, but beautiful Force Staff coming out of OD, and with that, they could have survived, but now he's going into the trees in clear vision of creeps, so I guess his endeavor was to keep Outward Destroyer alive when he could have probably just walked away. Nevertheless, there we go. So they're going to get a quick pick off on the Shadow Demon. In the meantime, there is a middle lane. Lifestealer does get a lot of damage put into him, but with that armlet, we'll be able to survive. Whoa! And Clinks was trying to send out just one auto attack from that 1 HP Lifestealer, but the armlet was toggled, turned on, and there's not much more you can say about that one there. Now the Phase Boots have been transferred to the Spear Bear, who, by the way, just got an Entangle proc with Radiance and Ion Shell up. The meta is so screwed. Beautiful action there, a nice Impale attempt, but it's not going to be enough. Moo taking a lot of damage now, too. One more auto attack. But the Carapace will stun out the Lone Druid. Now the Bear is the only one. He's going to Radiance him down and finish the job. Now they're going to look to push down on the Tier 1 tower. Nice action from Lone Druid. Now he is definitely kicking into gear exactly as he needs to. Now finding out 419. Not sure they have detection on the mid lane. And with that, just a little bit more damage over time is all they need. Oh, Liquid Fire does the trick. And that's going to be a third kill. Oh my gosh, another Entangle. Holy crap, the Disruption comes on out, but he can get Ice Path out of that no problem at all. So that is, oh, that's so painful. 4 kills. Almost out of happenstance. Just really, really lucky. Fortunate Entangles. Kafar going on through and just delivering so much hurt. Ion Shells, Radiances. You just can't survive against that. Amazing. Amazing action there. So now they're going to be looking at pushing on the Tier 2. A reminder, the Demolish passive on the Spear Bear allows it to do 140% damage to towers, and that's going to be very, very effective to bring this down rapidly. And he's going to look for a deny maybe, not even going to bother, just going to lose the tower, and everybody's going to try to fall back. Kafar still doing perfectly fine. And with that, a couple of towers, 4 kills, and amazingly much on the board now. It looks like Enigma's in a pretty bad spot. I'm going to guess he's going to die. You guys can take your bets, place your bets now. But I think Enigma is probably going to drop down there. Anyways, gold graph. Look at that gold graph. Experience the exact same thing. 4 kills straight, 2 towers. It's just a completely different game. Neck and neck, over, back and forth, not a big deal. And then suddenly, Cheesepuffs goes in 1 by 1 and gets completely obliterated, and now Roche is an option. Dire Ward here, nothing for the Radiant. And with that, they have full control. They can go in with Invis. If Nyx, oh, he doesn't have Vendetta. I was going to say Shadow Demon and Nyx could both go in invisible, try to get a quick kill on Lifestealer and burn everybody else down, but one way or another, the Roche will take a fall. And they don't know this is happening because there's no ward up. So that's not really going to help them out in the end.
Roshan has fallen to the Dire. Dire's top tower is under attack.
So there's that. Mamu is trying to stalk on the Lifestealer. If he could find him, that would be awesome. Has that invisibility room, but he doesn't have vision. So he's just going to stalk up on the Lone Druid presumably, but doesn't want to be in range of Radiance. So everybody's just falling back in a position there. They could actually counteract this ward if they could see it, but they need Shadow Poison in order to do that. So that will take quite a bit of time. Yeah, with Klink's position here, I think he has eyes on this ward from this position. So now he's going to Shadow Poison up the cliff, or just have Klink stand where he's pinging. And one way or another, they're going to be able to bring it down. And it's only a minute ward, a minute and a half left, so it's not going to be that big a deal. Actually catches a glimpse of a Spear Bear based on the fact that he has Shadow Poison debuff there. But one more auto attack. There we go. That will conclude it. In the meantime, though, Luna was pushing up on top lane, has her Manta style finish, picked off a tier 1 tower, back up on top of farm pretty effectively. 379 GPM, not too shabby. And yeah, not just being pretty effective. So glad that that has worked out for them, and that they're kind of turning things around a little bit, because they do have the end game lineup. I mean, Obsidian Destroyer scales based on his intellect very, very directly, his mana pool specifically, but also his Sanity's Eclipse is based off of the intellect there. Along with that, Klink's, if he can get some nice items that benefit from his burstiness, I mean, he can become a huge source of damage with Crystallis that he's looking for later on, Daedalus, MKB, BKB, all, you name it. He gets the items, he just does so much more with it. Anyways, Luna will be picking up some nice action here. Helmlet Dominator picked up a little bit later in the game than I would prefer, in the sense that Helmlet Dominator is primarily used to stack Ancients. You get the neutral creep, possess him, tell him to go in, tell him to go out at the right time, and you suddenly have like 4 quadruple stack of Ancients that you can farm down really quickly with Lifesteal and with Eclipse. But now coming on through, speaking of Eclipse, actually I meant Moonglaves, but yeah, nice pick off on the Darkseer. I mean, that was a little bit of overkill. Again, Eclipse being popped pretty much every engagement might be the death of her if she pops it when she doesn't need it and then needs it within the next 2 minutes, but for the time being, not a big deal. Anyways, as our, oh, nice to teleport to deny. I didn't even catch that, but you know, when he gets self-pushed and dropped below 10% HP, cutting off half the gold that you can gain from it is really, really nice. What else was I going to say from there? Yeah, Luna, with her Moonglaves, so not Eclipse, can farm up and stack Ancients extremely effectively, especially if she can lifesteal on them. Now Klink's, I'm not sure why I didn't go for the kill right there. I think he wants to pick up a, yeah, he's going to pick up a neutral, get a little bit more bonus damage. Death Pact gives him, I believe, plus 39? Yeah, plus 39 damage, maybe a little bit less. And then with, wow, I actually didn't think about it, but with Lunar Blessing and his attack speed, they can just deliver so much physical damage. But now he's should be looking to stalk in the enemy jungle. Has to be wary. He did get caught up by Sentry Ward just a little bit ago, but not too shabby nevertheless, just keeping the aggression going, keeping very active. In the meantime, Koza from Tomorrowland has been farming decently. Net worth of 9,900. You're looking at his last hits. He only has 126, but again, he had a lot of kills early on. Now sitting at 3, 2, and 4. Not as favorable of a KDA as prior laning had provided him, but nevertheless, getting an armlet, getting an assault cross, that allows him to feast a lot. And by a lot, I mean like an immense quantity. He's going to attack extremely quickly. Right now has 0.69 seconds per attack, and from there, he's just going to be able to deliver a lot of single target DPS, but he is very reliant on the enemy standing still. If he has to run after them, he's losing a lot of DPS time, and that's not going to be working out at all. So, so yeah, the Assault Cross, the big deal that they need is the Enigma Black Holes. They need to be able to pick off Enigma and throw him in the fray, get some nice Black Hole action off, but there right now, there's a Disruption from Shadow Demon, a, what do you call it? Wow, I can't believe I forgot the name, but an Astral Imprisonment from the Outworld Destroyer. There is an Orchid from Klink's, a Lucent Beam from Luna, and Nyx has 2 stuns, the Impale and the Spike Carapace. So, in either case, it's going to be very difficult for Enigma to get a reliable Black Hole off, and that was kind of done in the draft. Knowing that the Klink's could safely farm an Orchid meant that pretty much unless Enigma catches all 5, or times it perfectly with their cooldowns, the enemy's cooldowns that is, then he's going to have a really rough time getting a full 4-second Black Hole that isn't ended prematurely. In the meantime, just a lot of stalking around, 2 invisible ganker heroes ready to rock and roll, but they know that they're going up against 5 opponents or something along those lines that have good map awareness and say, this isn't a safe position, I can get caught out at any time, and don't want to have to worry about that. Along with that, ganking up on a Lone Druid with an Aegis, that's going to expire in a short time period anyways, only about a minute and 10 seconds left on that thing, is it's not the best option. I mean, getting an Aegis, great, but it's going to go away in just a short time period, and Nerf now knows it. Nerf us knows it, and they're going to be going very, very aggressive right here. Smoking up into the enemy jungle. Blink is available, looking for the Malphite, picks it up on Dob. His only option is really to disrupt himself, and that's not an option at all, because 2.5 seconds of disabling yourself, really bad. He does finally get it off underneath the tower. TPs are coming in, but they're all delayed 3 seconds longer each time that they try to cast it in. Actually, that's wrong, but no big deal. Lifestealer does not have Rage available, though. Already popped it off, but jumps inside the Darkseer with his Infest, and he should be able to survive from that, unless Moo is really, really good for his ganks. But there comes a little bit of damage. The board gets knocked down. 100 gold to the Outworld Destroyer, along with that Enigma running for his life, just so low HP right now, and they already popped the mechanism, so that's not going to be an option. Impale, Mana Burn, will not get a black hole off. Again, this poor Enigma will never, ever get a real black hole off. So sad, but anyways, on the back end, oh, needed an armlet toggle, but it was on cooldown. He popped it, turned it off very, very rapidly, and Clink's just attacking too fast, gets burned down. So there is just so much back and forth. There is a disconnect, but he's dead for the moment in the grave, so it's not going to be that big of a difference one way or another. Lone Druid has been caught out a little bit. The Ice Path tries to keep him alive for the time being, but Disruption, holy crap. If I didn't even think about it, but Disruption and Astral Imprisonment, they can just banish him from the game for like an hour and a half. Anyways, they finally take him down, and perfect timing. 10 seconds ago he had the Aegis, now he doesn't. Literally, you can see this whenever this line hit the 7 or whatever you want to say it is, that was when the Aegis expired. So barely getting it at the right time, delaying it with the Astral Imprisonment, probably unintentionally, but it worked out extremely well. So, Outworld is it, and it's not, oh, actually just type it, whatever. But yeah, it's Outworld Destroyer, not Obsidian, is the thing. It'd be funny if he is Owl Destroyer. Just get like a cosmetic item, turns him into a bird. Whatever. Gargoyles. Jakiro is doing pretty well. Both teams have Ghost Scepter, and like I said, that's a really nice item going up against OD and Clanks, because when they try to unleash their auto attack volley, there's really not that much they can do. The Arcane Orb relies on them to be able to auto attack. And then there's of course Clanks, who delivers a heck of a lot of physical damage. But you can't count out Luna, but you also have to keep in mind that if you go up against the Luna, she starts auto-attacking you, and then you pop your Ghost Scepter, guess who's just going to eclipse all over your face. So, that is what's going to happen there. Pretty much Luna just looking to farm up a little bit more. Could opt for a Satanic. It has enough gold for a Reaver if that's what she wants to go for. Otherwise, could maybe look for a Butterfly or something like that, but I prefer a little bit more HP since she was only sitting at 1600. In the meantime, I really just kind of don't know where to go from there. Pretty much they're going to draw their lines. They're not going to do too much board. They both want to secure their late game potential with their farming. Right now, we saw that jagged drop of a roller coaster down in this position here where they got 4 kills in a row and a couple towers. Now kind of climbing back up. It's actually on top of it. Radiant have climbed through the Grand Canyon pretty much, and getting some experience on top and moving back towards an equalized gold disadvantage. So moving on from there, Lifestealer does have an amazing item with that Assault Cross, but I think they need a little bit more oomph, and Lone Druid needs to kind of pack that. Where is his bear? Is it actually, I think it's in the ground right now. He just resummoned it. So yeah, it has a Hyperstone, has a Maelstrom. He's going to be looking for that Mjolnir, and with the Assault Cross already up, that bear's going to be attacking so friggin' fast. But all the same, they are going up against 3 carries, and that is still a lot of physical damage that they have to deal with. Along with that, I think the bigger deal is that if you count the bear as a carry and Lone Druid as a carry, there's 3 melee carries on the Nerf team, and there's 3 range carries on Cheesepuffs. So pretty much with that, they're going to get kited out. They're going to get slowed down. Demonic Purge going on through that rage state of the Lifestealer. And there's not too much more you can do about that. So I really think that in a fair fight, it's going to be very difficult for Lifestealer and Lone Druid and his bear to stay on any one target if they are mobile enough, if they are running enough. But yeah. But yeah, pretty much I think they're really reliant on Enigma getting black holes off, and I just, as we've seen all game long, I don't know if that's going to be a viable option. I believe he sold his Soul Ring. Yeah, he had a Soul Ring previously, but decided he needs a little bit more durability. He gets locked down too hard in those disables, so right now he has Power Treads, he has Vitality Booster, he has Ghost Scepter. If anybody can survive, it's this Enigma, and hopefully that's what he intends to do. But yeah, he's going to have to do a little bit more, because so far he's not really contributed as much for his team. And yeah, it's just not really worked out for them. Aegis is 6 Ministration. The 7 mark on the clock here, none of the single one of these is an actual number. It just looks like a 7, so I indicated that, but I guess that one does too, so it's not very helpful. Anyways, this mark right here is when the Aegis will expire. It's 6 minutes in, so you look at the clock, that's 5, 1 more minute there. Anywho, and it's just a weird marking, so I don't really know where they came up with the runes. But I guess I didn't want them to be numbers because that wouldn't feel Dota-like. But here is Smoke of Deceit up on Moo. He wants to charge like a crazy cow and go very aggressive right here. So that's what they're going to do. They're going to pop off the Smoke. They already have 1 invis with the Clinks. Pop off Vendetta when they get close to the opposition. They're already marking out their path on the map. They're going to be looking to find out this Darkseer. He does have Aghanim Scepter. That is going to be some high damage illusions if he can catch everybody in. Vacuum could be high potential, but there could be an Orchid as well. Looking to pick off Faith. They already do an Astral Imprisonment, but that's 4 friggin' seconds they have to wait. In the meantime, there's a team fight going on. Lone Druid losing a lot of damage into his bear, but Shadow Demon could completely evaporate and Moo in a really bad spot now. And Lifestealer could care less about your Spike Carapace as he can just fry through it during Rage. Now Luna with her Eclipse on cooldown. Then finally a Black Hole comes out. The Orchid is on cooldown, and with that they're going to be able to bring him down. Now looking for Clinks. Do they have detection? He's going to TP on out. Malefice, 5 seconds, not going to happen. Outworld Destroyer, the next target of choice, 2 seconds left on his Force Staff. He's going to be able to get away, and unless you walk right back up into Mr. Melee Creep there. So hopefully he can escape. He has Tranquil Boots, so that's quite a bit of mobility, and it looks like he is on out of there. But Faith has other plans. He wants to get that Malefice off. He instead puts it down on Clinks because they have the Geometry Sight. They know he's there, but whether or not he's a viable target, that remains to be seen. Needs to vacuum him back, or just with the Ion Shell Surge. I think they can finish the job. They need Nakes for his vision, though. There's a vacuum. Ion Shell, tick, tick. Lifestealer, come back. There we go. They see him. They ping him. 1 more auto attack from Faith, jumping in with that Blink Dagger. So very effective there. They did not pick off the Obsidian Destroyer, so that's one thing to keep in mind. But, you know, picking off a Clink's not bad either. And in the end, it's going to be 23 for 19. I feel so proud of you, Immortal.Faith. You got a full Black Hole off. You are the man. It may have been on 1 Luna, right next to a Clinks, but it was a Black Hole, and you deserve to be commended for that. Roshan has respawned. Great opportunity to take it with 45 seconds left on the Clinks death timer. That's going to be really, really big. Nyx can't really do anything to counteract it, so a little bit of scouting Ice Path, so they do see the regeneration rune, but otherwise they're just going to focus on burning this down as fast as possible. Now, Lifestealer is going to be looking for another item. He has a lot of attack speed, so maybe he's going to be opting for something like a Abyssal Blade, which has the Bash component involved in it, both directly and proc chance. Moo gets entangled up. He does pop off the Carapace, but gets vacuumed right up on the cliff in range of Radiance, so he's going to have to TP on out or suffer the fate of Pain. Instead, it's going to be Enigma. He does jump in aggressively, and he is actually taking too much damage from Obsidian Destroyer and from the Luna. So too much auto attack damage, too much magic damage, and OD will finish the job there. Now Jakiro does get sheeped up. Who has a Theiss? It's going to be OD, and that is just too much damage. This is kind of what I was talking about. Late game, Obsidian Destroyer is a monster truck. Same with Clinks, same with the Luna, and right now pretty much any one of them will do such amount of auto attack damage, physical damage, and now with the 2.5 second disable, Outworld Destroyer has a lot of utility in his build as well, and it's just going to be hard to do anything about it. Nice thing about up against Darkseer, I disagree with his Aghanim's choice because Outworld Destroyer has a really nice component here. Nice Eclipse, just needs vision for a second longer, gets the Lucent Beam, will finish the job there. But again, one thing that I really don't like about Aghanims on Darkseer versus an OD is that his Orb effect, Arcane Orb, does 400 bonus damage to illusions, and with that, you can pretty much two-shot them, if not one-shot them, if they're, you know, reduced life. But the big deal there is Darkseer has a lot of eggs in one basket with those illusions, dealing 140% outgoing damage, and is based on the base attributes. So there's a lot of intellect on OD, there's a lot of agility on Luna. Those kinds of things are very advantageous. But beyond that, it's not that big a deal. It's not going to help you that much when you compare that to a lot of other things. But Moo gets picked off. Nice Ice Path, very long range. Black Hole picks off on 2. OD wants to prison. He puts a prison on the Nakes instead, and his friends will be forfeit. Oh, actually, it doesn't put them in prison on Nakes, it puts it on Meta. Meta gets dropped down. Agency Immortal has expired now. It's in the grave, and with that box, looking to Force Staff away, not going to be an option. Gets the Sheep Stick onto Lifestealer, and the prison onto the, wow, I'm forgetting names here, the Enigma, but in the end, it's going to be Kozo from Tomorrowland, bringing down the Obsidian Destroyer finally, and now Dob looks like his life is going to be forfeit as well. With that Malefice, looking for the Ice Path, easy peasy. Wow. He actually dodged it, but it doesn't matter. He's going to take a fall, and that was an Aegis as well, so that's pretty much, oh wow, kill him, Radiant's dead. So, That is 6 kills for 0 in favor of Nerf Us. They killed Luna twice, and you can count the Aegis. She doesn't have her butterfly. Oh, she actually has her butterfly. The Eagle Song I did not see in the bank, but it doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is they killed 6 people, and they got a black hole that lasted full duration once more, and that you can just see the huge difference in team fights based on that. They can kill like 8 enemies instead of 5 if they just have that initiation from Enigma, and that's what they got, and it's so awesome. So nice play there, and they're going to be able to put pressure out on this tower because everybody's dead, and that's pretty much, it's not too difficult to auto-attack a block of Legos when nobody's really protecting it. Think of siblings and building Lego towers, flashbacks, whatever. Mjolnir is up on the lone druid, as well as the Radiance. He actually has dumped all of his items off the Spirit Bearer, just wants to focus on making sure that he himself is very, very beefy. He has a decent amount of armor. When that battle cry is up, you can see he has just under 30. Just under, I mean 27. But, you know, with the liquid fire about to come on up and the Spirit Bearer, he can bring down this tower really quickly, but they don't have the focus for it. They're kind of like, okay, well, we want to kill a bunch of heroes, but now our Bear's dying, and now everything's turning catastrophically painful. That Orchid, I don't think came out before the Xanades Eclipse, so the Enigma will survive just barely, but everybody will be running for the Macropyre on the run. I definitely think that the lineup of Cheesepuffs can do extremely well, but really they are running for their lives from their own illusions. They are killing themselves, ladies and gentlemen. There is a gigantic Obsidian Destroyer and Clinks delivering so much pain. I know that wasn't a Clinks. Yeah, it was. Yeah, Clinks is already. Wow. My head got confused there. But anyways, giant Obsidian Destroyer and Clinks delivering so much pain, and Darkseer gets a triple kill as a result. Now, Luna really wants to Lucent Beam up on Jakiro, but nice surge, nice vacuum coming out, vacuuming back meta, and with that, he's not going to be able to do much. Now, watch OD's damage. I mean, that's a decent chunk of damage for an illusion, for just a kind of a sub-ability. Nice mech coming out. And do they have 2 mechanisms? No, OD has one, Darkseer has the other. But Meta is just kind of running around in circles, trying to pick off one hero. Now looking to go die to the neutrals. Not going to happen. Losing Beam finishes it off. Last hit coming out there. Now 419 looking to do some damage, but they have vision. I think that the Geometry Sight worked despite him being in the bear. And with that, they were able to invest down on him and focus him down. Blink, Malefice, and of course Kafar finishing the job there. So that is crazy. And yeah, so you got the Shadow Demon. He's looking at the 4 staff, and that's not really going to be an option when you're losing your tier 3. So that's pretty much what's going to be happening in just a short time period. The wall will be down for 15 more seconds, but he's back to full mana. He just needs to get back in the fray. So with that, Enigma has that black hole available. They really want to use it. He has the BKB. He has the BKB. Here's Enigma, and he is going to be able to get a beautiful ultimate off now. He has Blink Dagger and the Black King Bar. So with that, they won't be able to prison him. They won't be able to disrupt him, Orchid him, Lucent Beam him, everything that Nyx does. They will be able to get a full solid ultimate off on anybody they choose unless he completely blunders. So this should be big. Nyx Assassin tries to go mano a mano against the Lifestealer, but he's got a gem, he's got rage, he uses it, he drops him down. Now Luna's giving the aura to everybody around. Now she pops off the Eclipse, but really there's so many creeps, there's so many illusions, it's not doing too much. Dob taking a lot of damage, one more Entangle, or just the Radiance damage should be enough. He will run, and he will barely survive. 3 HP. A non-fatal dot from the Orbit Venom, but they will pick off the Obsidian Destroyer. Dobbs in a pretty poor spot based on he doesn't have a TP scroll. Literally, if the bear just kind of casually walked up anywhere nearby, he would die. But they called it a good game. It doesn't really matter about the Shadow Demon's life. When you have these racks that are going to take a huge fall, everybody just got destroyed in that team fight, and we didn't get to see a BKB Enigma ulti, which makes me a little sad. But they didn't need it. They did really, really good action with that wall and with that initiation in general. They fought it out. Lifestealer and Lone Druid were able to stay on their opponent. Nyx, a little bit of throw in the sense that he went balls to the walls up against a guy with a gem that doesn't care less about your stuns. And with that, he put himself in a bad position, and from there they just lost a number of heroes. It's kind of like that team fight that happened around this stage in the game. It's just one by one, not really how they needed to fight that, and by engaging inappropriately, and Luna not having like 1 million gold right now. So looking at net worth, you can kind of see what I mean. Actually, no, you can't because they glitched it out. But she had 502 GPM, but it wasn't enough for her to carry on her own. Clinks kind of fell off. He's sitting currently at, 6 kills and 3 assists. That's not where you want to be as a gank and carry. So, a good game, but nevertheless, it was really good action. The Darkseer illusions actually did quite a bit in those fights, despite the potential of Arcane Orb to eradicate them immediately. Along with that, they finally got some good black holes off, and more importantly, they had that Lifestealer get so very, very farmed early game and transitioning towards mid. So, good action there, good stuff from Lifestealer and Lone Druid. And that is going to be the last game I cast for tonight. So, Nerf Us has taken down Cheesepuffs. Can't keep on forgetting that. Cheesepuffs in the DotaBro.com league, and that was really, really awesome. Yeah, no, Astral Orb does not apply to the illusions, but still does a lot of damage, and he was based entirely on intellect, so it doesn't like beat the crap out of him, but it helps. It's a nice chunk of damage to add in when you have like 4 of those auto-attacking constantly. So good action from Darkseer. Don't agree with the Aghanims, but you know, it's going to be effective if they can't bring down your illusions, which frankly, if the illusions are there in the first place, the Eclipse is half useless, and that's nice. But in general, nice action from Nerfus. They played that game extremely well. They stayed active. They got the kill advantage. They took down towers when they needed to. They transitioned their victories into pushes, and they just played really good fundamentals. As far as their draft goes, they were a little bit more oriented on melee and closing the gap than I would have preferred, but it worked out for them in the end. I love the item pickups of the Ghost Scepter on literally 4 heroes. They were so afraid of OD's damage, Clink's damage, Luna's damage. They're like, we don't have to worry about it, just stop it. So took that off the board for that time period where they activate the Ghost Scepter, and really one thing that really can accomplish is distributing focus. Everybody on Radiant's like, okay, attack that guy. Oh, he's immune to physical damage. Just don't worry about him. And even though it's only 40-second duration, by the time those 4 seconds are up, they've already switched on a different target, thrown a stun at him, and they're like, okay, this is our new focus. And if they just kind of ADD all over the team fight, then they're not going to be able to bring people down, and it's going to go in the way of the Dire. So, well played. That was the last cast for me. My throat is killing me right now. Obviously solo casting is being a little bit more strenuous there, but I do appreciate you guys tuning in. If you guys enjoyed the cast, either just me solo or me co-casting with Rainmaker, do casts like that all the time, so feel free to follow me. There's a button right above your stream on Twitch. Otherwise, you can check me out on YouTube. I'm gonna upload the VODs tonight for these games that I've casted today, and then I'm gonna be back casting tomorrow afternoon, so I don't have an exact time for that, but relatively the same time. I'm going to start around 12 Eastern, which would be 9 Pacific, or a lot later in Europe. So 6 p.m. Central European time. There we go. So go along with that, but thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'll do one more giveaway, and that will be me signing off for the night. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a good one.